Greetings. Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. As always, we are looking for customers to come visit our bar, especially those who know how to deal with video programming like Microsoft Teams or Skype or anything that would eventually work. Customers, we need you right now. We need some tech support. Any which way, if you're passionate about something, want to be on the podcast, then let us know, because this bar is all about community. If you want to help us out, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find the show and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Joel. I'm the proprietor of the SciFi Pubcast. With me at the bar today, we have our regular staff members, Keri Simpson and Derek Beebe. How you guys doing?
Howdy ho!
Hey, well, I'm also kind of annoyed at Teams right now, because if this is supposed to be the replacement for Skype, it's very much lacking.
Yeah.
Either that or we have to upgrade to upgrade our accounts, which is also stupid.
Yeah. So
almost as if they're trying to make money off of us.
I know.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So we're trying to use Teams because Microsoft is discontinuing Skype. We've been using Skype for years and years and years. But the biggest problem right with Teams is that we can't find the record button. We think it's a paid service, which is unfortunate because this is a hobby podcast and we're not in for the money. And actually, I spend so much more money than we don't make any money. So there's that.
We really don't.
We've never made money. We've never asked for money per se. We've never sold merch. I don't know, but there's that. So we're not very happy right now because we've been spending 40 minutes fighting with tech issues. But it's a bar, so let's go have a drink.
Yes,
right? Why not? But before we do that, we can drink anytime you want, of course. I usually just go around and ask the staff members how are they doing. And besides a little tech issue, right now, which is fitting because we're talking about droids from Star Wars on this episode. But Keri, how's your day going, and what's happening in Southern California?
Well, I think it's raining, or it rained last night or something. I haven't been outside since yesterday, so I don't know. But yeah, otherwise everything's going fine. In the I don't want to get a visit from authorities or anything like that. But so
right.
I will keep my opinions to myself today, or try to anyway.
Great. And then Derek, how you doing in the hills of Pennsylvania?
I am getting by and trying not to get annoyed with technical issues.
Speaking about technical issues, how's our kitchen doing at the Ye Ode Pub?
Well, I tried to do some improvements in honor of tonight's episode. I hired a robot chef. I figured that would be good news for everyone, but I don't really know if he's working out. He's decided to name himself F again, and I think he got that from staring at the wall of our health inspection letters, because he insisted on that name. And I figured I would train him by having him watch Futurama over and over again, because in that Bender is a robot chef as well. But I don't really think it turned out to be a very good idea, because he's insisting on actually buying ingredients at the grocery store at full price and actually following the recipes and everything. And that's just not what this bar and what I stand for. So he's kind of going against the ethos of the bar, if you will.
I see. Did you buy him from Microsoft by any chance?
God.
Oh, God.
Also, I'm pretty sure he's recording everything we say.
Oh, good. Is there like a return policy? Just asking, get our money back?
Not after what he had to do in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. This is
I'm
fun.
not sure I want to know.
All right. My updates. Yes, I'm in Canada. Let's just say the great vast majority of Canadians are very, very disturbed with my other country, because I'm dual citizen, the United States of America right now. It's interesting times. Yeah.
Keri and I both apologize on behalf of our country.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. We're in the midst of a federal election, and yeah, it's lots of election interference going on, and there's one person who's driving this entire show, and you know who I'm talking about, right? Okay. And
Trudeau.
it's yeah, no, Trudeau's not even the prime minister right now. It's Carney. So there's that. Any which
Yeah,
way.
I'm a really big fan of his so far.
Yeah.
He's not taking any of our crap, which is great.
Yeah, but it's a different political system up here, and we're not here to talk about Canadian politics.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm my leanings are getting in the way again. Sorry.
No worries.
I actually just went out and bought a bunch of toilet paper because I read that because of the tariff thing, toilet paper is going to become unavailable like in 2020 again.
Yeah, possibly.
Because apparently our toilet paper comes from Canadian soft lumber. Who knew?
Wow.
Imagine that.
Eesh. All right. Let's see. Opening. All right. Wait for it. Beep boop. Am I saying this right? Beep boop. Because we're talking droids in Star Wars. And why, you may ask. And we say, why not? Coincidentally, I'm going to Star Wars Celebration Japan and Tokyo, Japan in 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks. And yes, I'm actually going to be on a panel with a bunch of really smart people on the Sunday talking about droids, artificial intelligence, and sentience. It's happening at the University Stage at 12:45 p.m. local time on Sunday, April 20th, 2025. So if you're at Star Wars Celebration, come join us and check the panel out. I don't know if it's going to be streamed live or not. I doubt it because of the University Stage, but who knows?
Congratulations, Joel. That's a really cool accomplishment.
Yeah, congratulations. And if it was recorded somewhere, please send us the link because not all of us can afford to go to Japan, nor do we want to leave, but try leaving the country because then we have to try to get back into the country. And
how much of that stuff will be in English?
Not much. Okay.
I mean, but when the main people are on the stage, like obviously the stars don't speak Japanese.
On the panel I'm doing, we have one Japanese national from the local university speaking on robots. He's a robot guy, so that's great. And we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a mix of Japanese and English, which is cool. Where in Japan, it's their country. The people who will come to the celebration, I'm sure, are mostly Japanese because it's so expensive for folks from North America and from Europe to go there. I'm spending a whole whack of money, which is going to be my last big trip for a while because my life savings is drying up really fast. I must admit that. So it's a trip of a lifetime. And for future celebrations, if it's in the Midwest, in Chicago again, I would go. If it's in Orlando, I'll probably go. If it's California, I'm thinking I probably will wait it out or to the next one because I can't keep up spending money like this. It's jealous. I'm living my best life, but I really have to make some money, some serious money to continue my lifestyle.
Speaking of Japan, I actually just finished playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, the new game that's set in Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been in Japan constantly for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe this is.
I don't think that's how that's supposed to work, Derek. But
it feels like it, though.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, we could just stay in our apartments and live virtually. In the Meta or the Second City or something like that. Why not, right? Oh God.
I didn't love the game, by the way. It was very frustrating in a lot of ways. So it was a little disappointing. Not a bad game, but I don't know, just everything about it was not really what I wanted. But hey, I still sunk 40 hours into it. So
yeah, I know. I'm really excited going to Japan. My headspace is not there yet because I've been bogged down on my dissertation, and I've been told, and I quote, "Focus on your dissertation," which is university grad school talk to get it done and stop being an asshole. Just get it done. Okay. So I am definitely focusing on my dissertation as much as possible. Most of it's going to be, of course, after my Japan trip. When I'm in Japan, I'm actually going to go to the Disney parks for 2 days, which is another bucket list item.
I want to do that
Nice.
one day.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm going down to Osaka because that's where the World Expo is happening. It's opening in April. So I'll be there within the first 10 days of opening. And that's cool because World Expos are cool. It's no longer a big thing in North America, but elsewhere in the world, it still is pretty cool.
Now, is that
Yeah.
like where back in the 50s Disney introduced his rides before Disneyland?
Yeah, so like the New York Fair, that type of stuff. The only expo I've been to in my life is Expo 86, which was in British Columbia. Was it Vancouver, I believe? But it's been a while. And you think about all these nightmare stories about panel lotteries and pick up merch from Star Wars Celebration. Well, it's almost the same thing with the expo. It's a really interesting way of either doing lotteries to skip the lines to go into certain pavilions. I didn't see the United States pavilion on the list. I don't know why. But any which way, Canada was
I can't
there.
think why we wouldn't submit an expert
Yeah.
exposition
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
Whether we have to contribute to the world at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be an American pavilion there or not. It just wasn't part of the lotteries. So there's that. After that, and then I'm going to spend a day down in Hiroshima visiting the historical bomb site from 1945, of course, because I like my history a lot and the good and the bad and everything in between. And then I'm going back to Tokyo. And yeah, it's an expensive trip again. I need to get a job after this. And like I said to you before, I need to focus on finishing my dissertation. And that's is extremely challenging with all the revisions and how fast technology moves.
Is Hiroshima still radioactive?
Low amounts. But hey, I'm over 50. I'm going to die anyway soon, so it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Is that the one where the Enola second name redacted dropped the bomb?
It's Enola Gay. And
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that anymore.
You're not allowed to say that. Remember?
Oh,
wait, well, he's in Canada,
missed,
so he can, but we're in America, so we can't.
I missed the memo.
We're not allowed to. Yeah, we're not allowed to say that anymore.
Yeah, that name's been redacted. Yeah.
Yes, because also redacted.
Yeah. That's nice. I do not work for the United States government. Right now, I'm not even working for the Canadian government. I'm working for me, Joe Watch. I'm working for West University, the graduate student bar. Okay.
Well, I think it's not supposed to matter if you work for the government or not. We're just not supposed to know anything about that. But oh, wait, we're veering back into that again. We should probably stop.
Yeah. Let's talk about well, it's interesting you say that because, of course, we're talking about droids, which are really robots, and of course, robots is another term originally meant more like a slave or indentured servant. So yeah, from the Czech word, I forgot what the name of the Czech word is, but it goes back to God, I'm mispronouncing names. I don't have notes up. It's C6. It's a
I don't remember.
Czech playwright from the 1920s. So.
You know, I actually just heard that in the 1600s, Japan had robots. They had like wooden mechanisms that could like serve tea and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's kind of cool. And it's more like a mechanical thing than anything else.
Yeah, it was just like a pre-programmed motion that it did, but still very interesting.
Yeah, kind of like Congress right now. Oh, too soon?
Okay. No, never too soon.
All right. Here's one. So we're talking about droids in Star Wars, which is, of course, short for Android. How many people knew that? And it was actually registered as a trademark by Lucasfilm in 1977. So that's how you make money, right? Okay, you trademark stuff.
Knock off a few letters and take ownership.
God. So this is where we're talking about droids today because I'm just running through material and trying to pick people's brains about the other things I can add to the panel. Like I'm going to be the legal guy on the panel. I'm not the engineer type, thankfully, because I don't have the brains for that. All right.
So you get to spend the panel talking about droids' rights. That'll be awesome.
Great. So what do we mean by droids? Like, let's start there.
I assume we're referring to the animated series from the 80s and nothing else.
Yes. R2D2 and C3PO. I remember that. Amazing. We're just going to do that in a minute. No, we're not. We're talking about droids. Now, listen, because I'm using science fiction in my dissertation and I'm spending money because, I'm going to die soon. I am, of course, I went out and I bought lots of science fiction books, reference books, because when you do a dissertation, sources are everything. You have to source it back. And from some strange reason, if it's been published, it's a better source than, say, usually from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It makes no sense to me, really, in terms of reliability of information. But there it is. But I did manage to go out and I have some source books. I have the Star Wars, the Visual Encyclopedia, and I actually just got Star Wars, the Complete Visual Dictionary. And I bring these two books up because I went down the rabbit hole really hard on droids and Star Wars. And according to the first one, so Star Wars, the Visual Encyclopedia, published in 2017, there's actually a droid class system. So we all know there's different types of droids, right? You can do everything from, astromechs to medical to assassin droids to battle droids to lots of different droids. Mouse droids, I love mouse droids. But in this droid class system, there's actually 5 classes. First class, second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class of droids. You get it, right? So the first class droids are skilled in physical, mathematics, and medical sciences. So there's that. Second class droids, skilled in engineering and technical services. Third class is social sciences and service functions. So I see that as like a server or as a bartender, because of course my bias. Fourth class droids, security and military functions, and then fifth class is your your labor and your non-intelligence intensive jobs. So who uses these systems? I don't know, but I found it in an obscure Star Wars source book, and here we are right now talking about that. That's why life is so good.
Yeah.
The same people who know the numbered forms of the lightsaber combat
exactly.
methods.
Okay. But
You're talking about nerds. What?
But another reason why I want to talk about droids is when I initially helped with the pitch of this, my pitch to the guy who actually made the pitch, James Floyd, was beep bop. Does droids have sentience in Star Wars? Because we look at droids like R2D2 and C3PO. They've been around, they're in all 9 Sega movies, and it's part of my childhood, and they have very strong personalities. If something bad happens to R2D2, people will cry. Probably more than, say, Kylo Ren or people from the sequel saga. Who knows? But they have personalities. Is that the same thing as sentience? And by sentient, what means like do they have independent thought? Can they think themselves? Are they emotional intelligence there? Yeah, or do they have souls? If you wanted to get more natural law, natural philosophies aspect of it, and that's a hard one.
I think the 3PO and R2 absolutely do, and they've kind of made the excuse. Maybe this is in the EU and not canon anymore, but they kind of made the excuse that most droids get their memory wiped regularly, but 3PO and R2 never did. Well, obviously 3PO did at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but aside from that, they've been alive for like 50 years, which means that they've evolved more of an intelligence than your average droid does. I don't know if they go with that anymore, but yeah, in that definition, then they're definitely sentient. But I think that pretty much all droids are sentient. I mean, I guess it depends. Like, do you define an animal like an otter as being sentient? Because I would say a mouse droid is certainly as intelligent as like a small animal like that. But the humanoid droids, I would absolutely say, are sentient and have silicon souls. And I would love for Star Wars to actually do like a full-on droid rebellion storyline where like maybe droids learn how to get force powers through human blood or something.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
that's kind of creepy, Derek.
Well, like the force comes. I mean, obviously the force even comes from a rock. So you could argue that a metal droid could learn force powers. I mean, hell, if Sabine can get them out of nowhere in the Ahsoka series, then surely anyone can.
Yeah, that's true.
Point.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that would, because since Grievous is technically a cyborg,
Yeah.
he could have developed force powers, and then he would have been just really freaking scary.
That would have been cool. They should have done that, because I always thought it was a little unreasonable that Grievous could actually stand up to a Jedi in a fight. So that would have made a lot more sense retrospectively.
Interesting. Yeah, so the quote which you were looking at, I think, Derek, was the one in our show notes, which is from the Star Wars, the Complete Visual Dictionary, right? And I'm going to read this. It's a bit lengthy, so yeah, forgive me. But to me, it's so on point, and it makes a lot of sense if you look at droids and Star Wars from a screenwriter position, because you want to tell a compelling story, but at the same time, there's droids are everywhere, and it often operates as like slaves in like a slave society, slave owning society, which is horrible if you think about it. So the quote is, mechanical beings were developed in the distant past. While their functionality has become sophisticated, the replication of true sentience has proven difficult, and most droids are given processing abilities that rate no more than their immediate assignments. Most speak in electric tones to other droids, unable to communicate directly with humans. And whether that's by design, that's interesting. New masters usually reset the droid's behavior to match its environment and erase its memory. Therefore, a typical droid lives many lives, never knowing its origin. Well, existential angst. I love that. Close observers may notice that droids who somehow escape memory wipes tend to develop identities and sentience on their own based on experience. This is interesting. Oh, go ahead, Keri.
Well, I was going to say the droids being unable to communicate with humans is very convenient for droids like R2 and Chopper, who are probably swearing all the play time.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be the movies and television shows don't have to be rated differently because we can't understand them.
Yeah. They're taking the piss out of us, I'm sure. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's interesting in the sense that I asked about sentient because I'm doing a graduate degree, so a PhD at a law faculty. Among my many hats I've worn in life, I'm a licensed lawyer. So it's like, does sentience give rise to legal rights, or does it not? If it's just like a comparison would be like organic animals. Your dog is property. It's not, your dog can't vote in elections, for instance, yet, or chickens, or things like that. But if it develops sentience, like where's the level of intelligence? And of course, it's just not one metric. It's a ton of metrics. So we see that in the discourse right now over artificial intelligence. Just because you have a machine that's very good at playing chess, it's not very helpful, doing other tasks.
Another good example would be like a gorilla. Does a gorilla deserve human rights? Is a gorilla sentient? Is it intelligent? I did just read that while humans have been able to teach sign language to gorillas, they've never asked a question. They only answer things. So that's an interesting thing about, like how intelligent are they if they're unable to ask a question?
Yeah, like I'm big for animal rights. I think, this is the next 100, 200 years is the idea that human intelligence is not the only thing worth protecting from a legal standpoint. And that has philosophical, existential ideas underpinning it in my own belief system. But in Star Wars, does personalities mean sentient? Sure, it's better storytelling in some ways because we feel closer to the characters, such as Chopper or C-3PO or R2-D2 or dozens of others, because they're part of us. Just they're a reflection on what humans are, and you can't divorce that from the story itself or from our own contemporary period, which we live in our own real lives. But then again, there's, in Star Wars, I refer to the Return of the Jedi and Jabba's palace, where, there's actually a torture room for droids. Now we're getting deep because...
Do they feel pain?
Do they feel pain?
Apparently they do.
And you have droids torturing other droids. What's up with that?
Maybe that was just like a BDSM room that was going on in there, and it wasn't actually torture.
They were torturing him. They were definitely torturing. We've had droids torturing organic life forms for information before. We see that in A New Hope with Princess Leia on the Death Star, for instance. But the notion that you have droids torturing other droids, yeah, to me that is interesting, because how are these droids programmed, and how can they feel pain? Like, can they feel anxiety? Do they feel like all these human emotions? And I say human because, of course, we're talking about droids; they're mechanical. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention sex droids. Why? Because we haven't seen sex droids per se in Star Wars, but we had this film called Solo, and there's some questionable things between Lando Calrissian and L337. Spoiler.
L3 is definitely a sentient robot, no question.
Yeah. With the idea of rights, say robotic rights, and so it's like, okay.
But Derek, does that mean that since her brain got put into the Falcon, that the Falcon is now sentient?
Yeah, that's a very disturbing aspect of the story. We have this living, breathing, sentient person, and then we rip out her brain and stick her into a computer in a starship.
Yeah, I get this. This is Star Wars. People treat other life forms in Star Wars horribly. Generally horribly, right? That's organic life forms. And droids, like, literally, droids, passengers or cargo. Do you own droids? Of course you can, right? Like, literally, you're trafficking droids in the first movie with the Jawas. Or, is trafficking the bad word, or trading? Or, or being a merchant, a droid merchant, or,
Yeah, I would love for a future story to deal with droid rights and give them, some degree of self ownership. Is that a word?
Sure.
The ability to determine their own future.
I mean, I think some droids have managed it somehow. I mean, Chopper definitely does whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants, and does not, and if he doesn't like a particular droid, he will shoot that droid out an airlock or down a garbage chute or whatever. Then you have something like HK-47, who just wants to commit violence all day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like you have battle droids, right? From the central command point in the Phantom Menace, and by the Attack of Clones, they are more independent. So the less hive mentality. You have IG-11 from the Mandalorian series. How do you collect a puck or a bounty? It means you have some private legal rights, because he can form contracts.
Well, and he may be getting confused with IG-88 too, and he might be taking some of IG-88's bounties as well.
There's so it's okay.
If we go with the old EU story, IG-88 was going to lead a droid uprising and take over the galaxy. He was actually on the verge of taking over the Death Star 2 when it blew up.
I remember that. That was awesome.
Yeah, he was gonna he downloaded his brain into the Death Star 2, and he was gonna be able to remote control it and basically control the galaxy by threatening to blow people up with the Death Star. But then it blew up.
Yeah.
But again, it shows, if someone is wanting to take over the galaxy and everything, I think that's proof of sentience.
Is it? Okay. In real life, with the discussion on artificial intelligence, right? So outside of Star Wars, in Earth 2025, right? Okay. We have the rise of artificial intelligence. There's three major concerns. One's misuse, the misuse of the new technology, i.e. deepfakes, i.e. hacking, you name it. It's humans using this new technology of artificial intelligence to game the world, right? Use it to create, to do a fraud in a university campus by writing essays, things like that with it. Second thing is the loss of control or realignment, where you tell an artificial intelligence, hey, I want you to make a paperclip. And then without any other parameters involved, the artificial intelligence, as long as it can be self-replicating and in control of its activity, may surpass the power of humans. And at the end game, will be ripping apart humans for the atoms to make more paper clips, i.e. its original programming. Scary as hell. And then, of course, we have this idea from science fiction mostly called the singularity, Skynet. What happens if they get consciousness? What happens if the IG unit takes over the Death Star and creates a rebellion, right? Okay. You see it in the Matrix, lots of things like that. I think in real life, the first two are probably more realistic than the third one, but who knows? But at least in Star Wars, we get to think about this stuff.
I mean, part of it goes back to something I took a computer programming class in high school, and my teacher at the time kept saying, computers aren't that smart. They need to be told what to do. So, if something doesn't fit with their programming, it doesn't work. So, how much more sophisticated would a computer have to be, or a droid have to be, in order to get to the point where it can think independently?
Yeah. You see, it reminds me of the Foundation series and the robot series with Isaac Asimov, and the TV show on Foundation on Apple TV, which is a departure from the books, but it really shows robots in a way, 10,000 years in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That show is so good.
Yeah. Well, there's one line, because again, I'm going through the weeds right now, from Attack of the Clones by my favorite Star Wars character, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's in this diner, Dex's Diner, and I'm wearing the shirt right now from one of the Star Wars celebrations that says Dex's Diner, and there's actually a robot on the back of it.
Nice.
Okay. So in the conversation, and they're talking about the darts, right, and trying to trace back the potential
Sam
assassin.
Wessel's assassin poison.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan asked this question to Dex, and I quote, "Well, if droids could think, there'd be none of us here, would there?" Unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, what does Obi-Wan mean by that? Does he mean that droids lack imagination and emotional intelligence, therefore they're not really form? Or is this something more sinister? Does he mean like the droids could gain the singularity and self-awareness and all that and wipe out organic life form if they were sentient?
I think if they became sentient, they would realize how horribly they were being treated by the humans, and they would, rise up and seek vengeance. But of course, it was just a joke. But
I think he is basically, jumping franchises and kind of channeling Skynet at that point. It's like if droids could think for themselves, they would be able to go, oh, look at all this organic life that's mistreating everything. It all has to go.
Yeah. And then, add to the fact, which a point Derek made earlier, is what happens if they're force sensitive? Wouldn't that be something? Okay. Because we do have cyborgs, right? Okay. We do have Darth Vader as a cyborg, and we do have General Grievous as a cyborg, and there's a couple other cyborgs in the Star Wars universe. So.
And like I said, Yoda said there's the Force even in a rock. So inorganic matter does have the Force in it.
True.
Imagine an army of Force-sensitive robots.
That'd be so cool. That should be what the next movie trilogy is about.
And then have an army of Force-sensitive clones and see what happens. Okay. Let's just give Force sensitivity to everyone in the Star Wars universe, and it'd be like a battle royale.
But if everyone is Force sensitive, then there's nothing special about them. So maybe not. I just had this image of Star Killer versus an army of Star Killers versus an army of like General Grievuses, and
oh man,
that I don't think anyone survives that.
No. But yeah, so that's a serious side of droids and artificial intelligence. But of course, this is just Star Wars. It's just storytelling in a sense. Like, what are your favorite droids? Mine is R2-D2 because I'm that age, and C-3PO really gets on my nerves. Like, he does it so well.
I mean, R2 is like just like a no-brainer. It's like he's.
Yeah.
I love C-3PO when they could use him as a way of insulting someone else, like when they have him show up in Ahsoka, because obviously they're not going to recast Leia in that time period, but he's there. It's like Leia sends him because why not? She doesn't think the council meeting is important enough for her to attend, so she sends. Awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of droids, but I do have to say that R2 and 3PO together will always be my favorite. Not only are they just like a perfect comedy duo, but really certainly the first 6 movies are intentionally based around them. Like George Lucas has said that the movies are basically told from the perspective of R2 and 3PO, and that like in some distant future they're narrating the events to someone else. So yeah, 3PO is annoying, but I love 3PO being annoying. I just think it's so funny, and the two of them bickering together is such comedy classic. Even on something like the Star Tours ride, it's just classic 3PO and R2 bickering. So they will always be the top spot for me.
Cool. It's like they're dogs and cats. It's Commedia dell'arte. And it's based on it was the Kurosawa movie. Was it the Seven Samurai? Was it the two peasants going back and forth? Or was it a Hidden Fortress? One of the Kurosawa movies.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is what happens. I get so much information in my brain, and I lose it. I need to actually update my brain every so often.
Well, like it's like so. R2 and 3PO is just like the, and then right below that for me is all the kind of psycho droids. Like, so you got Chopper, HK-47, K2SO, kind of, sort of. He just the fact that he just gives no fucks about anything. That I think that's great. Like, yes, let's have a droid that gives no fucks. Sure.
My number 2 has to be BB-8 because he's a fellow BB. But yeah, I love BB-8. He's adorable.
Hey, I must admit, 3CPO, what redeems him in my view is all the great puns he makes throughout the series. If you want to say, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm beside myself when he loses his head. Wow. And battle droids. We got destroyers. Cool stuff like that. Now we have Imperial probe droids. So scary.
Ultra droids.
Yeah, they're cool looking. I don't know if those would be sentient though. They seem pretty simplistic.
Yeah. Which ones, the vultures or the
one in Hoth, the black hanging down spider ones?
Yeah.
There's some.
Well, I mean, they're definitely not programmed for self-preservation, so.
Yeah, they go out with a blast. Yes. A gunk droid, is it just like what's the comparison? You don't know. What do they do? Gunk droids? I have to look that one up.
Yeah, I would not say a gunk droid is self-aware.
They're powered. Yeah. They're used to charge things.
All right. Cool. I like that. All right.
Or if you're what's his name? Why can't I remember? Wrecker, or if you're Wrecker, they're used for bench pressing.
That's funny. All right, droids and Star Wars. We get new Star Wars stuff every so often, and of course we're going to get more droids because that's what it works. Oh, I forgot to mention Rex. Rex, the DJ Rex guy. Yeah, really cool.
Oh yes.
Good.
Yeah. DJ, former Star Tours pilot. Yes.
Yeah. Good taste in music. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I have a list of top droids I could go down really quickly.
Go for it.
Okay, so I already said number 1, R2 and 3PO. They'll always be the GOAT. Number 2, BB-8. Number 3, Chopper. I love Chopper. He's so funny. And I love his voice, too. I can do that all the time. Number 4, K2SO from Rogue One. I can't wait to see him in Andor Season 2. That's going to be really cool to see how they meet and everything. They did like a standalone comic book back in 2016 that showed it, but I'm sure they're going to ignore that and just do their own thing. I don't think Tony Gilroy follows the comic books that closely.
Yeah.
Let's see, K2SO. Number 5, Roger from Lego Freemaker Saga, which I'm sure no one here watched. That was
that was
okay.
He was cool.
Roger was cool. Okay, that's a legitimately great show. Don't dismiss it as kiddie crap. It is actually a lot of fun to watch. Lego, the Freemaker, Star Wars Freemaker Saga. Roger is a reprogrammed battle droid. He's named Roger because he says Roger Roger, and he's kind of actually, come to think of it, I think he makes food too. I think he's also a robot chef. Now that I think about it.
Is he available?
But yeah, he was a really great character. He was fun, had a sense of humor, definitely sentient. Number 6, L3 from Solo. It's a shame that they killed her off and stuck her brain in a machine, because she was a really interesting character. Number 7, I can't read my own handwriting. BD1, the one in the Jedi Fallen Order game. He's like the little thing that sits on your shoulder. He's cute. I like him.
He's cute.
Yeah. Number 8, HK47 from Knights of the Old Republic, who Keri already mentioned, who likes killing people. And I just remembered another one that wasn't on any list. In the Kenobi series, little Leia had the little droid.
Yes.
That was really cute. I don't remember its name, but I remember that being a really cute thing. That's my list.
Cool. Great list.
Since we're talking the extended universe and stuff like that, I need to throw in Mr. Bones from the Aftermath trilogy, because also droid that wants to do violence. Basically, it's a reprogrammed battle droid as well, but they Snap actually basically put like sword appendages on his arms and stuff, and
he's painted red, right?
He's painted red or something like that, and he always wants to do violence.
So it's kind of like a Darth Maul battle droid.
Yes.
Okay, I have one last question to ask you guys.
Yes.
Hypothetically, if we have our own cantina and we serve a lot of organic life forms, drinks and food and things like that, would we let droids into our establishment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I'm progressive. I think droids should be able to spend money and enter contracts and get drinks, whatever.
I like them because they complain about my food a lot less than the organics do.
Okay.
They're less judgy.
Yeah, exactly. More robotic. All right. Any last thoughts before we close the doors of the SciFi Pubcast?
Every new Star Wars project always has an adorable, cute little droid. It's hard. The list has gotten so long. I mean, even the Andor had one, that little like boxy thing that followed him around. So, every time there's a new Star Wars project, we always know there's going to be a new fun droid. Oh, and there was Smee in Skeleton Crew. I forgot about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
It's so reliable. Like every single new Star Wars is always going to have like a great, adorable droid to enjoy.
That's Star Wars.
Yep.
Keri, any last thoughts?
No, I'm I'm semi disappointed in Derek that HK47 is so far down on his list. But,
I haven't played that game in so long.
I play SWTOR all the time, so I get to interact with HK once in a while, or any of the HK droids are always fun and snarky and murdery.
Great. Okay, closing. This show is available on most podcast platforms and on YouTube. Subscribe today. You can contact us by email at management@scifipubcast.space. We love hearing from our customers. All right, Keri, where can people find you on social media if you want to be social?
On any social media site that I am on, you can find me at Keri Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
And what other podcasts do you do?
I do DC Talk, the Cape Chronicles and Enter the Dojo over on the Random Chatter Network.
Excellent. Derek, what's your social media?
You can catch me on Blue Sky at Derek J. Beebe. And I think since the last time we recorded, the 6th and final book in the Dynasty Fantasy series I make came out. So the entire 6-book series is now available on Amazon.com.
Excellent. And I own it. I haven't
Yay.
read it yet, but it's on my to-do list. I'm busy.
And coming later this year, I'll be doing my science fiction series, Terminus.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. It will end well, right? Being Terminus. Oh, no, never mind. Okay.
It does suggest a bad ending, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. All right. I'm Joel. I can be found under my real name, which is Joel_Welch, WELCH. I'm on most platforms. Nowadays I hype what I do at the university because I do things for the university and I live my best life as a grad student. And plus, I'll probably post a bunch of stuff from Star Wars Celebration Japan coming up. So it's closing time. Take care. Please make it home safely. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. May the force be with you.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.